Hi, welcome to Audiobook Academy. This is a self-paced audiobook. There's no need to keep an eye on things. Just pay attention. Thank you for taking the time to listen. The majority of people believe there is only so much space at the top. The majority of people believe that you cannot win every time. Most individuals believe that the underdog is more noble. However, most people aren't considering the entire field. What if Tom Brady had the same thoughts as the rest of us? What if Einstein had the same thoughts as the rest of us? What if Bill Gates, Richard Branson, and Oprah Winfrey thought like the rest of us? Those persons may appear to be larger than life to you, or having exceptional talent, or anything. But believe me when I say that those people are just like you. They began off as a Mississippi youngster, and they've come a long way since then. San Mateo, Blackheath, and Ulm, Germany, to name a few. Growing up as a youngster in South Jersey, people assumed I was hallucinating. When I expressed my desire to appear on magazine covers and race BMX bikes all over the world, and they were correct, I had been dreaming. I was, however, willing to see it through. All the way to a pro BMX career spanning 15 years. At the start, there was a world championship, a gold medal at the Pan Am Games near the end, as well as going to school along the road, obtaining a master's degree in business administration and a doctorate in psychology. Now I work with top athletes and businesspeople. My passion is assisting you in locating your jam with the use of technology. Create your own version of a championship life by using your personal style. In this course, I'll show you how to alter your life, how to improve your thinking, how to identify and eliminate energy drainers like making comparisons and whining, and how to make radical acceptance work for you. I'll show you how to stay focused using my methods. Every day, we're gamifying the commonplace and pushing the needle. Winning in every sport, company, or life situation. It's all about altering the playing surface to make it more enjoyable to play, while playing to your strengths and having a good time along the way. Are you prepared to send it? Let's get started. Do you enjoy your work? Not so much in terms of a dream job, but in terms of the overall spectrum of outcomes? Also, do you enjoy your work? I did, in fact, ask that question twice. Because you are so much more than your work. Isn't it true that you aren't or weren't? When you're watching sports, you're aware of what's going on, and you can predict when the shot will be fired. Maybe the putt is excellent. Alternatively, the ball will simply fly out of the park. You're witnessing not only mastery, but probably luck as well. You're seeing alignment as well. Consider that for a moment. Some even claim that the stars simply aligned. Everything was in place. The planets were in perfect alignment. I'm not here to explain the universe to you. I can't guarantee your success, but I can tell you that your success is entirely dependent on your alignment. And, may I add, happiness and health. So let's get down to work, shall we? Go over these questions in detail to begin determining where you could be off kilter. First and foremost, are you doing what you want? If so, which places, and if not, which areas? And by areas, I'm referring to your company's operations. In your sport, your health, and your everyday life. Here, consider your relationships and experiences. Second, what are your skills and abilities, as well as personality characteristics? What are you doing with your strengths, talents, and characteristics? What are they being used for? These are significant issues to address, so you can take one of the many online tests available. Clifton Strengths and Workplace Big 5 are two of my favorites. This will aid in your decision making. When my clients come to work with me, I try to be as accommodating as possible. It's not merely for the sake of improving their performance. Use the sporting edge in business or on the field. What they truly want to talk to me about when they obtain the things they want, this is what they get. It isn't the Olympic gold medal or the increase in profits. It's what you get as a result of receiving those things. If you're running out of ideas, then I strongly advise you to do more than think. Regarding the questions I've just posed, but that you've chosen to ignore, get a notebook and start writing down your answers. To get aligned, you must first understand who you are, what you're doing, who you want to be, and why you're doing it. And it will all be for naught. Whether you're unwell or have bad relationships. It's time to replay the entire field. I tell it once more because, at some point, you were most likely doing exactly that. Or are you unable to recall? Some of you may be fortunate to make a living doing what you enjoy. Many of you have probably given up on your goals. In order to be more practical, you had to give up something you were passionate about. Paying for education or rent is a more realistic option. Concentrate on your profession and take your children to practice. There are far too many successful individuals. I've arrived at my office feeling unsatisfied by the money and the deals. Despite this, they continued to seek victories and fulfillment. Inside the realm of currency and transactions on this, my head isn't in the clouds. I understand that getting ahead necessitates making sacrifices. I'm also aware of the advantages of deferred pleasure. What I don't comprehend is how you manage to win when you no longer get the fruits of your victory? Maybe you're motivated by money and bargains. That's fine with me. I'll put you to the test. Doodling has been demonstrated to be beneficial in studies. Can boost your memory by 29%. Cardiovascular exercise boosts mental acuity. The corpus callosum is strengthened by playing an instrument. The region of your brain that connects both hemispheres, dance, sports, and the arts, all help to improve executive function. So, if your passion isn't paying the bills, it is undoubtedly in your best interests to pay for your passion. Here's what I'm talking about when I say you should pay for your passion. Some people aren't paid to toss a ball or jump from cliffs. But I'm pretty sure I'd like you to complete your work in a certain way that can support your preferred way of living. It's excellent that you enjoy restoring old automobiles. You enjoy competing in Spartan races, which is fantastic. Do you enjoy space travel? That's fine with me as well. Exploring the topics that you are enthusiastic about will provide you with something to strive for as well as something to pay for. It's perfectly fine if your day job isn't your passion. However, if you're killing it at work, enables you to pursue more of your interests, then you've got a win-win-win situation. So, what have you been meaning to do, but have been putting it off for a long time? What did you have to give up in order to get to where you are now? What are you waiting for? I'm sorry to have to break it to you, but however, it's possible that you're being too cautious. I'd like to emphasize the word's importance as well. You've gone a long way, many of you, by refraining from being rash. Consistency and intelligence, compound interest, and long careers are taken into account. If I'm speaking with top performers, which I am, this lesson is about being the one who is hazardous, not acting in a harmful manner. So, here's a quick mental exercise for you. Return to a time when you were perhaps just out of high school. Whether you're just starting out or well into your career, or if you're starting a new career. What were the circumstances of your case? What emotions did you have as a result of those circumstances? I'm guessing you were a little jittery, frightened, worried, and unsure, and willing to put your best foot forward, eager to learn, perhaps thankful, and hopeful. In the end, there was probably not much to lose. There was a lot to be gained. As a result, you became dangerous. When I was a professional athlete, in the same way, I recall my first professional race. Every lap, I was literally running afraid. So much so that I ended up in a squabble, if you want to finish in the top 3, so much so that I had a fantastic rookie season. In contrast, while I was in the middle of my career, I had sponsors, I had a good reputation, and I was ready to go. I had something else as well. I was afraid of losing everything I had. I spent the better part of 3 years on this project, attempting to cling to something. It resulted in inconsistency in performance, as well as bouncing about the business, attempting to secure sponsorship. Surprisingly, striving to keep hold of something was taking risks with his game. Playing it safe cost me money, sponsorship, and other opportunities. And I was virtually done with my job. For me, it was the best option. Was how I wanted to approach my training, races, and season, not in a risky manner, rather than with a mindset of complete trust, because there is so much at stake, it means going all in. I want the future, not the one I'm trying to escape. So your mission is to complete one task. Make a pledge to yourself that when the time comes, you'll go all in. And put all on the line, you put everything on the line and go all in. I can't promise you'll win every time. However, I can assure you that this strategy works. In order to win in the long run, both on the outside and inside, you'll need a team. In the real world, as in. What are the names of the persons on your team? Not the ones you've been allotted or those that are there by default. I'm referring to those who are on Team You. Make a couple lists of people you know. Those you want to know and those you don't want to know. You'd be better off if you didn't have it. People that want to see you should be on your team. Do well and have a stake in your success. And who you don't want to disappoint. That's Team You for you. So, who's on board? Who didn't make the cut this time around? Those who didn't make the cut, by the way, it's not necessary to know. You must, however, maintain your strength. People, in my experience, can detect when they're being abandoned. What about within the group? You may even be wondering, what does that mean? It entails preparing your mind to play the entire game. This is an easy procedure to follow. Pay attention and be specific about what you want, as well as what you want to accomplish. I recommend creating a meta version that includes the year, quarter, and month, the week, the day, and the mini version. It's even better if it pushes you. Practice with intention. I strongly advise you to learn something new if you haven't already. You can teach something you already know or can do well. The compelled effort to ponder about you'll stay agile if you take the measures you take for granted. Can help to improve what you're teaching. You can also teach for extra credit. Anything you're also learning. Environment. Locate a peaceful location. Allow some natural light to enter and take in some fresh air. If you're in a constant state of fight-flight freeze, your brain is paying attention to everything. We'll fall back on old habits. It's great for survival, but it's not so great for thrival. So there you have it, it's time to start networking. Your external one, and, more crucially, your internal one, your own private network. It's a common misunderstanding that simple equals easy. As a result, humans have a tendency to overcomplicate things. When working on a significant or large project, here's a filthy little secret for you about making things more difficult. You've got a good reason why it didn't work out. It was simply too large and intricate. Now I see why some things are fundamentally difficult. You are a complicated person. Our bodies are filled with thoughts and feelings. At the same time, homeostasis must be maintained. Complicated, but the principle of these complications remains the same, or actually quite straightforward. The huge short housing trade of 2007 was straightforward. Too many people would be living in their homes upside down. Furthermore, far too many banks made far too many dangerous loans. It's quite straightforward. The basic principle of social media algorithms is straightforward: to maintain your presence on the platform for as long as possible, providing news, blogs, and advertisements that you're interested in based on the data you've provided. The reason you're here is straightforward. What can you do to make your life better for you, your family, and your friends? And those with whom you have a relationship? Zone training, heart rate monitoring. It's as simple as that: eat less and exercise more. Complicated, strive to keep everything under control. Simple, you already know the answer. Complicated, avoiding difficult situations, annoyance, or conflict. Dealing with it is simple. Again, simple does not imply easy. You've probably got a reel going in your head right now. If that's the case, great, keep the reel spinning. If you're prone to overcomplicating things, this is what I'd like you to do. Begin with the first step. Regardless of what the initial step is. Pick one if you're unsure about the first step. I guarantee you'll get the answers you're looking for. Once you've started, analysis paralysis affects far too many of us. So just go back to the initial step, whatever it is. And begin again, one foot in front of the other. I realize this isn't exactly a courteous request. But what happens to your body when you hear it? Whining and complaining about other people's kids. What goes through your mind when you hear your children? Maybe it's you who's whining, or maybe it's your staff. When you have to do something, you usually whine. You don't want to do it, or you believe it's unjust. Maybe you don't have the skills, confidence, or wherewithal to complete the task. And if you think it's too difficult, you may complain. Stanford University conducted research demonstrates that whining shrinks an area. Critical problem solving reduces as a result of the shrinkage of your brain. As a result, cognitive thought begins to dwindle. It feels wonderful to let off steam, but be cautious with whining. In the end, it encourages people to complain more. When you complain, your body produces the stress hormone cortisol. When this happens, a hormone called cortisol is released. Every ounce of energy is devoted to surviving. The irony is that you've come to succeed. As a result, you must stop whining at work. There are two things that need to be done here. First, other people in your group, armchair quarterback. Look for the complainers and make a list of their names. Certainly not in front of them. What impact does their whining have on you and the others around you? Physically and emotionally, what is going on around them? How efficient are they? Simply keep an eye on things. The next thing I'd like you to do is go back in time. Yes, time travel is possible. Go back to the beginning of your life. When things were tough, how did you react? Ignore the surroundings and consider your actions. Do you succeed by taking huge chunks or by limiting the amount of labor you have to do? Into more manageable pieces? If you knew what you know now, you wouldn't have done it. How would you manage some of the more difficult situations? In your professional life? What are the lessons you can learn from the past? And how do you apply it to real-life situations? Complaining consumes a lot of energy. Set a deadline for the complaint. Or a complaint restriction, such as no more than 2, then make it a practice to look for silver and gold. As well as platinum linings, politicians are prone to criticizing the opposing party. A complaint, on the other hand, is an opportunity. I'm not asking you to run for office. However, I am requesting that you consider the offer. In the things that irritate you. If you find yourself whining about others, it's time to stop. Keep two things in mind. In all of your connections, you are the common denominator. You can also always be surrounded by other individuals. Expecting to be as quick as Usain Bolt is unrealistic. Will not motivate you to reach the starting line. Expecting to be as clever with investments as Warren Buffett will simply irritate the inexperienced, expert, and/or even you, the seasoned entrepreneur. Perhaps you've noticed that some of the people appear to be with whom you attended college, they appear to have progressed further in their professions. Perhaps even more prosperous. This ski vacation was something I used to do. Every year, the company organizes a ski excursion. One of the planned events took place during that trip. It was a night of poker. In that community, the CEO was a regular. As well as having regular standing games with a number of other well-known corporate and political figures, a well-known actor came to town one year and wanted to be a part of the fun. They kindly declined his request, stating that they did not have room for him. The endeavor proved near impossible to complete. The point is that even the wealthy and famous feel excluded. If you're always comparing yourself to others, it's time to stop. Make sure you're on the same page as your metric. If you're preparing for your first marathon, there are a few things you should keep in mind. Don't make comparisons to your sister who has won the Iron Woman competition 5 times. Instead, compare yourself to where you were before. It was a year or a month ago. If you want to be the best salesperson in the world, do not compare yourself to your award-winning competitors. My next-door neighbor is a real estate agent who recently received another award. Rather, compare yourself to your numbers. Compared to the previous year's performance or the best performance from the previous month, be honest with yourself about the measures you're using and the comparisons you're making. I understand the value of benchmarking. I also understand how difficult it is to disregard your pals. Anyone who shares your space with you, whether it's your siblings, neighbors, or anyone else. But keep in mind that they're also staring at you. So I want you to ask yourself this question all the time. Do the individuals who compare you to them think you're better than them? Know everything there is to know about you when it comes to their parallels. Are they good or bad? I seriously doubt it. The same can be said of your comparisons. As well as ideas about them, you too don't have the whole story. As a result, avoid doing a side-by-side comparison. Self-esteem and talent are linked. However, one does not imply the other. Instead of comparing what you have to what you don't have, focus on what you do have. I'd like you to concentrate on your self-efficacy. Your capacity to prepare and carry out your plans. This will assist you in remaining productive and help you achieve your goals. In the end, your metric will be reduced to your expectations being met. If you're not living up to those standards, what can you do to get in touch with them? Is it even worth it to have such high expectations? You are, after all, free to alter your preferences. Just make sure you're staying true to yourself. There's no point in predicting the future. I wish I could tell you to stop worrying, but I can't. However, personality, environment, and ideals play a role. I'll say this about culture and life experiences: maintain a healthy level of anxiety. You manage your people, not control them. You don't have complete control over change, rather, you manage it. You manage your anxiety rather than controlling it. So, if you are accountable to your responsibilities as a businessperson, a family member, or a teammate, then you are accountable for coping with worry and stress. Almost everyone nowadays is stressed about something. So this isn't exactly breaking news. Anxiety, on the other hand, saps your energy. It has the potential to make you sick. Anxiety that isn't controlled has a negative impact on your life. It takes away your ability to reason, as well as optimism and inventiveness. Stress chemicals are released into your body and brain. It's not good for your mental or physical well-being. It alters the way you perceive objects, situations, and other people as threats, or as threats that are greater than they are. Anxiety, ironically, increases weariness. It can also disrupt your sleep. So your employment entails a number of tasks. Before you start to feel anxious, and especially throughout, determine your triggers first. What is the circumstance or situation? What is your reaction? What kind of person are you? What were the outcomes, ramifications, or consequences of that type of behavior? After that, look after yourself. Make it a top priority in your life. Eat well, or better yet, eat better. Get some rest. If the weather permits, get out and enjoy some sunshine. Different stressors affect different people. Because everyone deals with stress in their own way, however, there are both healthy and unhealthy methods. When coping with that anxiety, there are a variety of methods to manage a team, just as there are a variety of ways to manage a business. This can make children feel motivated and self-sufficient, or simply going through the motions because you're bored. So take a more long-term approach to stress management. It makes you feel healthier and happier in general. In fact, put some pressure on it. If you're going to be stressed anyway, why not make it worse? Instead of working against you, why not make it work for you? Take a gratitude inventory. It sounds simple, right? It's almost cliched. Count your blessings and be grateful. It is both simple and difficult. And I'm willing to guess that the majority of you aren't doing enough of it. I'm not implying that you aren't thankful. I'm implying that you don't practice thankfulness. There is a distinction to be made. And if you believe the difference is insignificant, you're right. Unfortunately, those who excel at high levels in, I'm not sure, everything, it's a game of splitting hairs, I know. Examining the fine print, not recognizing your ability, success, and take chances for granted. Is it possible to catch what I'm throwing? Do you want to smell what I'm cooking? What's this boat I'm on? I understand if you're a hard charger. You have a few objectives that will take a lot of effort to achieve. As well as increased attentiveness and, like you, I still have items on my to-do list. But here's the thing, you're going to have a lot of fun. As you get closer to your goal, you'll experience cognitive dissonance. The unmistakable realization that you aren't where you want to be, that isn't even taking into consideration the fact that gaining fresh knowledge, tackling new difficulties, and devising fresh answers on and on and on, 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 that awareness makes me uncomfortable, makes me feel uneasy. Anxiety, and even illness. Meanwhile, you use your emotions to your advantage. By believing you've failed, or that you're not quite up to par, all of this is happening while you're most likely seated. You're in the midst of your previous successes' results. What you don't realize is that where you are right now, what you now have, maybe that's what you were looking for. It was only a few years or months ago. You are, in fact, in this location. Recognize that where you are currently is a good place to be. Is a sign of achievement. Also, and this may be self-evident, if you're sitting here, however, isn't that proof that you've succeeded? Despite everything that's happened to you? What I'm asking you to do is look up, like right now. I'm sure you've been told to keep your head down and go to work, but don't forget to gaze up. What do you think you see? Are you in a pleasant environment? Are you in a temperature-controlled environment? Do you have access to a window? What is the cost of your watch or the PC that you are using? Do you prefer to spend time with your family or with a pet? Do they primarily adore you? What about the things that are causing you anxiety? Could you imagine being concerned? What happened a year, 5 years, 10 years ago? If you answer truthfully, I'm guessing you're already in the front row of life's box seats. You are free to rejoice in your current location and focus on where you want to go next. It doesn't have to be one or the other. As a result, practice gazing up. Practice appreciating what you already have. Big, little, and unique. It will assist you in recharging your batteries. Both your brain and heart will benefit as a result. I'll tell you a little secret. The key to success is radical acceptance. You might not be where you want to be right now. However, if you reject it, please accept my apologies. Or unwilling to break down your situation into factual components that are acceptable. You will never be able to overcome any barriers. You must cultivate radical acceptance. To get there, you'll need an inventory management system. And classify yourself, your life, and your performance in it. So, with that in mind, please respond to the following questions. With a simple yes/no response, is where I am at work making me happy or good? Am I satisfied with my current state of health? Am I content or satisfied with my current situation? In my interactions and encounters? Break it down even more now. What brought you here? And before you start waxing poetry or justifying yourself, consider the following. ERR is human, so remember to err. The letter E stands for events. What happened to get you to where you are now? In your work, sport, and personal life? The letter R stands for responses or reactions. What were your reactions to those occurrences? The following R stands for results. What results did you get as a result of those actions? You should have a good idea already. If you were truthful in your answers to the first two questions, take some time now to consider your findings. Observe any trends in your behavior or situations. What about the timing? When it comes down to the wire, that's a big one. Here's a fun nerdy brain science tidbit. Once you've seen the worst, there's no going back. You just listed and examined a lot of stuff. The unpleasant is easier to avoid. Your mind has just recently begun to function. It's a self-correcting system. It's time to put this to the test. Implementation. fix it and write down the solution or solutions. Your solutions to the ugliness you've just compiled. Internalize it, reflect on it, and put it into practice as soon as possible. History, as we all know, repeats itself. However, you are not obligated to repeat history. Make a habit of doing a variation of this exercise on a regular basis. Not only on a quarterly or monthly basis, but on a year-to-year work your way up to once a week, or better yet, once a day. Take stock of your current situation. Accept that you are now where you are in a radical and unabashed way. You then begin to make the required adjustments in order to progress. Your success rate will skyrocket. Your bottom line will benefit as well. How many things can you handle at the same time? If you do things purposefully and intentionally, you'll get a lot. Not all at once. The antidote to worry is focus. It's not like it'll stop you from worrying. Despite your anxiety, it will keep you moving forward productively. This necessitates a mental adjustment. Here are a few ideas to get you started. When you need to concentrate your thoughts for the first method, rather than pondering how much I can accomplish, consider how effective I want to be. I'm not sure how effective I can be. The premise here is that you want to begin looking. When it comes to productivity versus busyness, we've all met people who thrive on being busy. As an example, consider food. 500 calories are exactly that, 500 calories. Yet, 500 calories from potato chips and a can of drink as well as a microwave-ready lunch is not equivalent to 500 calories of nutritious greens, whatever you want to eat, whole grains and grass-fed beef. It's possible that the garbage will fill your stomach. However, it is insufficient to fill the emptiness. You don't need junk calories, and you don't need to be busy. I want you to get to work and be productive. Busy being productive. Another mental change to help you get back on track, bringing oneself into focus, is the process of persuading yourself to win. Make a daily intention and repeat it to yourself. Declare to yourself, I am doing this. This has occurred. I'd prefer to do it right now. I'll just go ahead and fill in the blanks. That one, I'm sure, isn't as much fun. However, you'd be shocked at how powerful that one is. Perhaps I'll come back later to see what's diverting me. Say it out loud, over and over, to bring yourself into focus. The third shift is one. Because persons who are fully focused have mastered, yes, paradoxically, increased awareness. However, if you're a sports person, consider those occasions when you were in the zone. If you were to characterize that moment, you'd say I'm sure it'd be chock full of details. And information about that period of time. As a result, try to be super aware of yourself. Your emotions, your strengths, and your flaws. Hack your own system by working with yourself in the direction of what you're interested in. Finally, I want you to adopt a slow-moving mindset. We have a saying in racing, slow down to go faster. To travel faster or further, I like to say slow down. What stands in the way of our achievements is due to our inattention. So, here are some suggestions for slowing down and staying focused. Fight for the setup you want. Keep the area clear. This entails taking control of your day's beginning, as well as making time for oneself between whatever you're emerging from and I'm about to enter. So set aside 5 or 10 minutes for stillness. Before the start of your day, allow yourself a few moments of mental solitude. Before you switch tasks or start a new meeting, make sure you have everything you need. Allow yourself to refocus. I also suggest that you keep a to-do list and a body of water in front of you. Keep it cool and drink it. This may seem self-evident, but keep your distractions to a minimum. Once a day, go dark. Examine your schedule and pick a time that you can keep to. There was no phone, and there was no chatting. I enjoy tossing a ball against a wall. Stretching or breathing exercises. The idea here is to find ways to slow down once more, as a result of which you will be able to travel faster and further. When you're a high achiever, my friend, you're working on your flow. In order to get a feel for the flow, you must focus in order to get into the flow. Rearranging the playing field is an important part of success. To put you in a position to succeed, your playing field appeals to me. As having three domains, the company domain, the personal domain, and the public domain, the area of health, and the sphere of fulfillment. So, the first domain is the company domain, while the second domain is the personal domain. In the area of success, this domain is made up of several items: the house, the car, the bank accounts, the jobs, the titles, and so on, everything that comes with it in terms of status, everything that comes from outside, and the material gains that are the result of that achievement. The sport or health domain is the second domain. Let's be clear about something: having excellent health insurance does not guarantee excellent health. As a result, be honest with yourself. What part of the health spectrum do you belong to? Could you need a little extra exercise? You could want to improve your strength, flexibility, or mobility. There is no such thing as a miracle pill for economic success. There is no such thing as a miraculous drug for perfect health. And believe me when I say that the two are intertwined. As a result, give this domain the attention it deserves. Fulfillment is the third domain. It's all about you, your relationships, your experiences, and your point of view. What makes it all worthwhile, whatever it is? This is the time to trust your instincts. What did you have to give up in order to get what you have now? What are you doing to make yourself happy? What does it take to fill your cup? Have you made up your mind? Did you enjoy doing things with your hands? And now you're working at a desk? Because this domain is so important, have someone figure it out for you. To the long-term prosperity of your company. So, now that you've considered these three areas, consider where you are in terms of success, health, and happiness. You must take action in order to achieve happiness and fulfillment. Even better, assign yourself a grade. In these areas, how would you rate yourself? An A in business, a B in delivery, perhaps a C, C- in terms of health? Make an honest assessment of yourself. Put your pen to paper or your fingers to the keyboard. And make a list of what's missing in each domain as well as what you desire. Have a response to each of the three questions. What do you hope to accomplish in terms of health? What are your plans? And who are you going to be in the future? The same three queries arose in response to the fulfillment. What are your objectives? What are your plans? And who are you going to be in the future? Then there's this: we won't be concentrating on the business domain just yet. I'm prepared to wager that this is the case. A place where you feel most at ease, or at the very least is already focusing on, and, if you haven't already, where you scored the highest. However, all of this achievement can come at a cost. And it's usually at the price of others, of your happiness and health. So let's take a look at the entire field. Bring your attention to the other two primary areas of your life, health and happiness. When you have a broad view of the entire field, your life's three realms are all in play. You can begin to reorganize the field of play to be victorious on a daily basis. Between your responsibilities and your escapist fantasies, there are goals that are both tangible and worthwhile, that are beneficial to both you and those around you. It's possible that you'll find what you're looking for. However, you have the key to obtaining it. A simple gut check is the first step. Consider each of the three categories of your life. What are your goals in terms of success? Make a note of it and make it brief. What do you want when it comes to your health? Make a note of it. You guessed it, fulfillment. What exactly are you looking for? Make a note of it. Now choose one. I'll show you how to build a strategy for getting there. Whatever it is that you really want, okay, make that the very top of your steps. Your milestones are now one step down. What are the stepping stones on the path to the top? Make a list of those milestones and presto, you've got yourself a plan. These are your new objectives. This is a teachable opportunity. For the most part, goals and desires are the same. However, it's all about splitting hairs when it comes to great performance. As well as threading the needle, goals are excellent, but I want you to work hard to achieve them in the direction of what you really want, what you desire. To put it another way, you are receiving something out of what you desire. That is what propels you forward. So your desires are at the top of the priority list, your objectives are milestones. Consider the Olympic athletes with whom I collaborate. Their ambition is to compete in the Olympics. To get there, they'll have to cross a few key checkpoints. Your objectives are the key to achieving your objectives. Do you see the distinction? Okay, it's all about expectations when it comes to attaining your objectives. Expectations are the next step down. The majority of you make the error of expecting to win, or not expecting to be victorious. And why is that a problem? Well, the final result is based on a slew of uncontrollable external factors. It's too unpredictable and out of your hands. Simply, there are some things that must be done to take place before you when you haven't yet won. Expectations are the actions that you can take. Those are within your control to an extent of 80 to 90%. This will help you get closer to your objectives. Returning to our Olympian. Daily stretching, for example, is one of her demands. Watching movies, working out at the gym, every night, get at least 8 hours of sleep. These expectations aren't a guarantee that she'll come out on top. They do, however, get her closer to her objectives. As a result, when you're filling out your expectations, use the sentence "I am confident in my ability to do X." That will bring me closer to my objective. The focus step is the next step down from your expectations. It's also quite straightforward, but be warned, it's not for the faint of heart. It's the most difficult to think of. It's a term for some, and a conduct for others. Typically, my clients want to bring their expectations lists with them. Then choose 1 or 2 items that strike a chord with them. So choose that item. 1 or 2 items, but no more than 2, that you can concentrate on to compel you to fulfill your expectations. Make a note of it. Look, it all starts with you. Internal leads to external, I tell my clients all the time. Your surroundings are a mirror of you. Expectations, aspirations, and desires are all important factors to consider. The best of what's available on the market, that's what you've got in here and here. What motivates you. I'd like you to consider your options. I'm referring to what you truly desire in life. In a year's time, how will your business be? How do you see your health in 6 months to a year? What are your plans for your relationships? Aim high, like the height of a great life. Those things you desire are no longer your objectives. They might be feasible. They are unquestionably aspirational, but are they feasible? Let me explain this in terms of sports. The soccer team aspires to victory. The winning team scores the most, you guessed it, goals. Your objectives truly assist you in advancing to the next level. Goal, go to the next level. That is a target. I'm thinking that if you set your sights high, you'd succeed. What you say you want is on a completely different plane. If you desire such items, it will necessitate the achievement of some objectives. Is it possible that I'm nitpicking? Yes, but why? Because that's the way it's done when it comes to winning. At the very least, those that win on a regular basis. Why do so many individuals fail to acquire what they want? It is not, at least in part, due to a lack of talent. It is due to their inability to envision a way out. From their current position to their ultimate goal, there's no way to go there because the distance is too great. They don't have any aims because they confuse what they want with what they desire. So, if you wish to stay in the game, do the following. Play at your highest level and be consistent in your efforts. Along the way, you and your brain need to observe some movement. Otherwise, it's simple to talk yourself out of it. Into the greatness of mediocrity. So this is your work right now. Is to take the items you desire, then condense them into bite-sized portions. To put it another way, how many points do you have to put in to get what you desire on the board? Do you want to increase your sales by a factor of 10 in a year? What about a triple dose? What objectives would you set to assist you get there? Do you intend to participate in a marathon next year? How much do you currently run? How fast can you run a 5K? How many miles per week would you need to get ready? To take part in the marathon? Do you want to spend more time with your kids or spouse? How much undisturbed time do you have each week to devote to them? What kinds of experiences do you think you'll be able to produce in the following 3 months? Raise your game and set your sights higher. Be specific and break it down. You're closer to achieving your goals than you believe. Let's face it, let's be honest. Before any trading takes place, money is made. Those who succeed in a market have a portfolio of investment plans. Most importantly, there should be no ambiguity about what is expected of you. When you consider your goals, you'll notice that they're not as lofty as you may. I'd like for you to go inward. Rather than anticipating sales to increase may win the title of Person of the Year, I want you to expect that you will go above and beyond. To boost sales and win Person of the Year, it's all about your expectations of yourself. Now jot down your thoughts. The more I accomplish, the more I am able to accomplish. Say it once more. The more I accomplish, the more I am able to accomplish. So, you've set your goals. You are the one who raises them. Now you must define them. It's quite straightforward. What are your options for today, this week, and this month? Having the assurance that you'll be able to achieve your objectives? Answer that question a second time, and then a third time. Repeat after me: the more I do, the more I am able to accomplish. Expectations should always be high. To perform what you're capable of in order to help you progress. Take responsibility for your actions. Then you'll begin to make significant changes. So there are a few things you should do. As well as things you desire to do, there are things you despise doing inside that. As well as activities that you enjoy. While you're doing or avoiding those things, somewhere, it's possible that you'll find yourself spinning your wheels. You're busy, but that doesn't mean you're productive. To be honest, it's a waste of time. It's your time, your team's time, and your family's time. No one wants you to be overworked and underproductive. I know I'm speaking with a shaker, a mover. A person who has a lot on their plate. And it's all vital, so I understand. You're occupied for a purpose. However, I will continue to argue and state it's possible that you're still spinning out in some locations. This is how I know it. If you're a reasonably responsible and successful person, there's still a part of you that is constantly at work. Am I correct? Even if you aren't working, your mind is. It's possible that your emotions are still present at work. So, here's how you get the ball rolling. Stop spiraling out of control. First and foremost, and this is something I stress to all high performers, is that you don't have to be concerned about anything. You're going to be concerned about it anyway. To put it another way, it is evident that you are concerned about your performance. It will be tough to simply turn it off. This is a shift in perspective. You must have faith that when you walk, it will work. Even if you don't see any movement, keep an eye on it. You've entered the game. After that, divide your tasks into 4 groups. This is what it means to perform. If you postpone something, it suggests you won't do it right away. Assigning entails enlisting the help of another person to do the task. If you eliminate something, it means you don't have to do it. Finally, make an estimate. Overestimate the amount of time it takes to complete a task. And you're underestimating how much you can actually accomplish. Make a list of the things that are most important to you. Anything beyond 3 is an added bonus. Alternatively, you may let it go and do some exercise instead. Will this put an end to late nights? However, not all of them. Will this put out the fires that need to be put out? No. Will the fan continue to spin cleanly as a result of this? No, but it will keep you focused and on track. Assist you in becoming more consistent over time, encourage more faith in yourself and those you lead. This lesson was originally titled Psych for Success, but I changed my mind. However, there were 2 flaws in that moniker. 1, I'm sorry, but I used that name for another program. But more crucially, 2, for this lesson, I don't believe it is totally correct. Please consider what I'm saying. I want you to have the energy, you see. I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to find your way to the promised land. Yes, I do. However, I've also witnessed folks begin their path full of fire and determination, only to be disappointed as they face a setback or a stumbling block. After years of competing, I've come to a realization. With tens of thousands of hours spent conversing with top performers, is that becoming hyped can be beneficial in certain situations. However, the factor that permits a winner to win is their motive, aside from their acts, is important. If you set the intention, the intensity will follow. As the stakes increase, consider the case of Michael Jordan. Serena Williams comes to mind. Consider the case of Michael Phelps. When you think about those athletes, what comes to mind? Their motives are crystal evident. It was so obvious that you understood exactly what they were up to succeed. So, how did you fare? And I don't just mean discussing them. This isn't a case of it being wonderful to get some exercise. It's up to you to define what success looks like for you. Like how it feels, tastes, and smells. As if you were that 12-year-old kid right now when you're daydreaming about your mature life, what does success look like for you? Make a massive move. Is it another hill house, a beach house, or both? Hill with a view of the beach. Perhaps you'd like to start a charity or write that book. Consider going tiny. How are your victories this year, this quarter? What about this week or this month? Your victories, not your ambitions. Clear your head. Make a list of them. Put them on the table in front of you. Motivation is admirable, but it is exaggerated. Your intentions provide meaning to your life. And resiliency is fueled by a sense of purpose. I've got some bad news for you. People get into fights for two reasons. When it comes to mastering any subject, boredom and insignificance, you are aware that one can excel at something. Perhaps even the best, however, this does not guarantee success. How many shots did Michael Jordan or LeBron James take throughout their careers? Tiger or Rory, how many practice swings did they take? Serena or Venus, how many serves did they take? Mastery is not an enigmatic concept. In the end, you must accept the monotony of routine. This isn't to argue that mixing things around isn't a good idea. Is harmful or unjustified, it's only to say that changing things up is a good idea. It's all part of the job. The brightest and best are exactly that. Because they keep doing the same things again and over. Why is this the case? Because it is significant enough to them. As a result, make certain that the tedious tasks are completed. Are still vital to your well-being. Not only is it necessary for survival, but it is also beneficial. However, it is critical for your ability to thrive. Embracing consistency, by the way, is not a huge reorganization. Here you will spend the rest of your life. I'm referring to a mental reorganization. In actuality, the time difference is likely to be 40 minutes per day. Depending on what you're doing, it could be more or less. Recognize the value of your time. Why don't you take the time right now to jot down some ideas? What is most essential to you in your professional life, in your life, and in your health? And by vital, I mean the ability to gaze in the mirror. Important to look in the mirror with pride. Amazing things were said at your funeral, and they were significant. The source of your neighbor's enmity. And hold you in high regard. This is the field of play for you. Everything on your field is up for grabs. Play what matters the most. Is there going to be any monotony? Yes. But isn't it the case with everything? Isn't that one of the reasons you most likely failed? On specific issues in the past? It has to be significant to you, whatever it is. It's not enough, according to your doctor. It's not enough for your boss to tell you. Even if I told you, it wouldn't be enough. It must come from within you to win every day. This is how you maintain your consistency. This is how you avoid becoming resentful. That is how you take control of your life. There is no gain without pain. We've all been briefed on the situation. On the idea of postponed gratification, make a sacrifice now in the hopes of gaining something better later. In addition, one of my favorite idioms is it's difficult to make a payment right now. It is inconvenient to pay later. That one, by the way, is mine. But what if your gain is pain? Consider some of the people you might know. Do you know anyone who boasts about their hectic schedule? You know who I'm talking about, the person who is always so busy. Fear they won't be able to get away from all of their responsibilities. What about the individual who seems to have to do the task themselves all of the time? Then there's the martyr, who is a person who has died for a cause. Whoever takes a shot for the team, whoever takes the photographs, however, they protest that they aren't in any of them. Do you know someone who is like this? Alternatively, maybe you're the one who behaves in this manner. Their gain comes from their suffering. It's referred to as secondary gain in the psychology field. To put it bluntly, the martyr is a busy, do-it-yourselfer. Being the busy, do-it-yourself martyr has its advantages. Perhaps it's a sense of importance, focus, or resources. A built-in justification for falling short, however, as you may expect, these additional benefits are not without their drawbacks. Are on the verge of collapsing. So I'd like you to concentrate on an incentive system that provides you with significant benefits, as well as allowing your brain to benefit from the reinforcement it receives from a successful upward spiral. From the perspective of cognitive science, you can rely on the following. When you're putting together your incentive scheme, you reply to criticism. Feedback affects your brain. That positive reinforcement will lead to more positive behavior, and that you desire to win as a person, or, at the very least, enjoy winning. And if you witness something like that, don't hesitate to intervene. If that's the case, you'll take the essential steps. Must continue to make that happen. Guilt is another tool you can use to your advantage. Or the lack of it. In the realm of cycling, it's referred to as earning your calories. If you cycle for 50 kilometers, or gain a few thousand feet in elevation, or perform a series of leg-burning sprints, haven't you worked hard enough to earn that platter of street tacos? You, on the other hand, are familiar with the feeling of eating too much dessert. You know how it feels to go to bed after a long day at the office with little time to exercise or spend time with your loved ones. You're aware. As a result, I want you to be able to work without feeling guilty. Family taco eating time. And devise a successful incentive system. Here's how it's done, and while I wish it were cooler, it works. Because, you know, science, psychology, and the Olympics right now, I'm sitting here talking to you. First and foremost, I want you to rate yourself rather than berate yourself. Score yourself on a daily basis in 3 categories: success, well-being, and contentment. Each category has a point value of 1. You must fulfill that category once a week. What is the best way to satisfy a category? I'm glad you inquired. What did you do on a daily basis to make a difference in those classifications? For work performance, did you accomplish everything you set out to do that day? Did you drink your green juice for health reasons? Or do some sit-ups, or work out, or meditate? Did you read to the kids for fulfillment? Take a stroll with your partner, play with your hobbies, tinker in the garage? Give yourself a point if this is the case. Monday through Friday, in each of the 3 categories. Weekends are for remuneration and makeup. 15 is a perfect score. Now is the time for you to use your imagination. What are your plans for self-rewarding? A quick small aside. When I was younger, after the BMX races, my father would take us to Dairy Queen. You got a banana split for winning first place. A sundae came in second place. A dipped cone came in third or worse. I got a lot of dipped cones as a result of my efforts. But that's a story for another time, perhaps over tacos. I have a suggestion on how you should spend your weekend. Based on your feedback, scores range from 0 to 5. Make 2 items over the weekend and have a party. Score 6 through 12, make 1 item and rejoice. Just rejoice if you get a 13 through 15 on the board. By the way, you might want to consider hiring. Enlist the help of your friends and family. After a month, you will notice some improvements. You'll have new habits after 3 months. What will you do to commemorate each month? What will you do to commemorate the end of the quarter? What will you do to commemorate the passing of the year? This is how you maintain your present moment awareness. And have something to anticipate. This is how those calories are earned. This is how you can feel good about yourself. And do some good in the process. Your brain will appreciate the positive reinforcement you'll be providing. Seeing yourself succeed in real time is a powerful motivator. It's easy to become addicted to, and it's just what you'll need to keep going. Must give it your all each and every day. You've completed the course, and I congratulate you. I'm confident you've given it your all. You should now have a good idea of what I'm talking about. In terms of what victory means to you, as well as a tracking system, and keep yourself accountable for the life you claim to desire. Before you continue, I'd like to leave you with this. Be wary of your accomplishments. Your enjoyment, involvement, and general well-being are inextricably linked to your goals and progress. It is possible to reach the highest point. That isn't to say you can't learn. Alternatively, you might expand your horizons in other areas. For example, you should see me attempt a free throw. There's a lot of opportunity for improvement. There is a zone that is known as the proximal development zone, the difference between what you can do on your own and what you can do with others as well as what you're capable of. However, in actuality, I still require assistance. You are both a pupil and a teacher. I strongly advise you to share what you've learned. Not only for others, but also for yourself. I also encourage you to take up a few books. That might come in handy when you work on your next play. Keep in mind that you are the one who determines your successes. You set the rules of the game. Best wishes. Thank you for listening in Audiobook Academy. Please don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. See you in next audiobook.